Hi guys, Django here. Welcome back to my Craftoria world. And in this episode, we're going to take a look at a pretty new mod made by YouTuber Direwolf20, whom if you've never heard of, I don't know what you're doing watching my videos. It's called Just Dire Things, and it's basically all the things Direwolf has ever wanted in Minecraft. It's a really interesting mod with some really interesting mechanics for crafting, as well as progression through many different new types of materials, which allows us to craft lots of tools, machines, do automation. I think it's going to be really neat. We're going to take a introductory look at it. Stick around. Before we get into it, please give me just a few seconds to thank our sponsor, Apex Hosting. I play Craftoria on an Apex server, so I can play with friends, play from multiple computers. Plus, I don't have to worry about backups. It's super easy to get set up with their one-click Modpack installation. They've got always-on servers, which makes hosting stress-free. If you're thinking of setting up your own server, Apex Hosting is a great way to go. If you do, use this discount code and my link, django.com/apex. That supports the channel. Thanks for your support. All right, to get started with Just Dire Things, take another quick look at the quest book. That's a nice, easy way to look at it. We need to make Primordial Goo, which we're going to use to make raw Ferricore. And from that, we can make ingots and some tools, Primordial soil, fuel canister. We can also make primal coal in addition to making Ferricore. Now, the thing that's caught my eye the most is this pocket generator, which is going to allow us to charge the powered items right in our inventory. So that's kind of my short-term goal here for Just Dire Things. Let's look in our AE2 crafting terminal and search for goo. See here, there are 4 types of goo, basically representing the 4 different stages of the game. Blaze Bloom, you need to go to the Nether. Note that the recipe for Blaze Bloom Goo has changed in Craftoria, and it requires a Nether star. So it's seriously gated with progression. If you're playing in another pack, it might just be the default, which is just redstone here instead. So you still do need to get some Nether wart and blaze powder, head in and take on a fortress, but you're going to need to get a Nether star in this pack. And then beyond that, we've got Void Shimmer, which requires a trip to the end to kill the dragon, and Shadow Pulse, which is a trip into the deep dark. The different goos give you these different ores, and these different ores give you these different materials. And you can kind of see based on the color of these things, what level they're in. So there's these simple things, they require just Ferricore, which is what we're going to get from our Primordial. The more functional tools, weapons, armor, come with additional upgrades and features. So you just need to progress in the mod to be able to add all of these upgrades to these tools and armor. We're going to touch on just a few of those in this episode. Okay, let's look at making some Primordial Goo, which I can do. We also need blocks of iron. Thankfully, I've got quite a bit of iron. Let's just grab a bunch. And we can also grab blocks of coal, which I don't have so much of. Grab a couple of those. And this mechanic is really neat. We just put down the goo right here, and you put a block of iron and a block of coal next to it. And we need to feed it. So it wants, I guess it's kind of a living being, but it needs either rotten flesh or sugar. And I've got a little of each of these. We just right click. And if you're using shaders, you're not going to see anything. Let's turn off shaders quickly. It doesn't work with shaders as far as these visuals are concerned. Okay, so you can see it is starting to take over the iron and the coal. Really cool effect. And it takes exactly 2 minutes for it to process a block that's adjacent to it. So I'll kind of speed through here, but know this is a 2-minute elapsed time. And there we go. The iron turned into raw Ferricore ore, and the coal, the block of coal, turned into raw primal coal. Now I need to mine these things with a pickaxe. And when you break these, the mechanic is that you get either 3 or 4 drops from it. Fortune does not work. However, taking a look here in EMI, you can see that my understanding is that you can get 3 or 4, even though it just says 3 right here. But in an enrichment chamber or in a macerator, we're guaranteed 4. So I'm going to silk touch these. Put them in an enrichment chamber. Just to make sure I get maximum output, because these things are pretty expensive. All All right, now we need to smelt the Ferricore. And while it's doing that, let's get some more of these going. Now, I've also determined that there is a 10% chance per item that you process with the Primordial Goo. There's a 10% chance that you will need to feed it again with flesh or sugar. So automating this thing eventually is going to be pretty interesting. We need to place these blocks, break them, and we also need to sometimes feed the Primordial Goo, or the whatever goo we're dealing with. It might be Primordial or Blaze Bloom or the upgraded ones. So we'll see that in a minute. Now we've got Ferricore ingots. And with these ingots, we can make interesting things like a wrench, which we can use to rotate machines, tools, a Ferricore bow. And if we hold shift on any of these things, we can see what kind of upgrades we can put on them. So on the axe, we can put tree feller and leaf breaker. On the shovel, we can put lawnmower and sky sweeper. The pickaxe, ore miner and ore scanner. On the sword, mob scanner. You can guess probably what most of those things do. Now I'm pretty attached to my jetpack and free runners, but we can get a helmet, which will give us mind fog upgrade. Chest plate has an invulnerability upgrade. The leggings have run and walk speed increases, and the boots step assist and jump boost, which I also get from my free runners. All right, so far we're lucking out and we do not have to feed this thing. And I'll be back when I have enough of this Ferricore ore to do some interesting stuff. And we're under attack. Okay, let's fight this thing in the daytime. Oh, okay. That is a necromancer from Iron's Spells and Spellbooks. And I did get some arcane essence from him. And just in time, there we go. Now the goo needs to eat again. You put down another block, it's not going to process it until I feed it. There it goes. Okay, I've got now 40 ingots and completed some quests. Before we grab those quests, let's just do a couple of quick dire things that are interesting. So first of all is this fuel canister, which I need to get some coal. Fuel canister. Let's grab that. And also let's make a pocket generator. Okay, so now let's go look and see what this fuel canister is good for. Vanilla. If we take, this isn't lignite coal's not vanilla, but pretend that's coal. And if we put one thing in here, that's going to use up that entire coal to cook one potato, even though we could have cooked what with coal, 16 potatoes, 8 potatoes, I forget. So this is where the fuel canister comes in. Fuel canister allows us to put in here things like this primal coal that we made earlier and lignite coal, and it stores it in here and gives us this amount of cook time. We can also put like planks in here. And so now we've got all this fuel stored in this canister. And if we put the canister in here and cook a potato, it's got 47.5. It's just going to use exactly as much fuel as is needed to make that one potato. So we can conserve fuel quite a bit. This is kind of like using tiny coal in other mod packs, but this is really cool. Nice way to conserve fuel. Right, let's take this fuel canister now, put it in our pocket generator. You put any fuel in here. This is going to use our fuel canister. And you can see this fuel canister, in this case, has a burn speed multiplier. Depending on the tier of fuel you put in here, we just have the primal coal, but the blaze ember, all these different fuels have higher burn rates and higher fuel capacity. Now we're filling up our pocket generator, and it's getting used up to add energy to our mining gadget. See that? If we take this out of here, just throw it on the ground for a second, you can see this is now filling up. The pocket generator is filling up with the fuel. It's using up this fuel, and it's filling up the energy in our mining gadget, which is amazing. It's also already filled up our free runners. So there's just a couple of examples of the cool things that the Just Dire Things mod adds. Okay, now let's look in the quest book and grab some of these rewards because we're going to get some upgrades from this. Get some free random rewards. Debuff remover, mind fog, sky sweeper. That's a shovel mod and mind fog. We got mind fog twice, really. Well, let's make a couple of these tools and we can see how these upgrades go on them. So I need a helmet. We'll make that, and we'll make a shovel. With the shovel, you can see its upgrades, and there are none. We need to apply these upgrades with a smithing table, I believe. So let's put a smithing table down right here, and we put the shovel in here along with the sky sweeper. And now that has added sky sweeper to it, and there's a lawnmower upgrade as well that we can add to this tool. The higher level the tools, the more upgrades we can add to them. Okay, the helmet, we can put mind fog on it. Now the shovel, you can now, if I shift right click on it, you see we've got the sky sweeper right here. And what sky sweeper does is we can demonstrate here. Let's see, let's find a tower of gravel. Sky sweeper, if you mine block that it has falling blocks above it, it breaks them all. I turn it off with a hotkey, which is V by default. You can see here, it just works like a regular shovel. So if we shift right click on a tool, we can then click on the helmet and we can see that it has mind fog in it. We can right click on it for settings and we can set a key binding on this. Okay, I think this is always on if it's activated. And what mind fog does is basically, I think it makes the distance that mobs can see you farther away. Okay, we've got some skeletons up here. We've got mind fog activated. He's still not seeing me. Normally he would have seen me by now. All right, we don't need to actually get in a fight, but we demonstrated mind fog. Finally, let's take a look at, let's make this item collector, which is a pretty cool thing. Let's get a chest and let's go up to our garden to demonstrate this. First of all, we did make a hoe, Ferricore hoe. Till with this, we get Primordial soil, which grows things just a little bit faster. See, there we go. Just a little faster. So now something I can't show you, but it actually gets really interesting is with the blaze bloom soil. So if this was blaze bloom soil, when these grow, they will harvest themselves and leave in this case, potatoes floating for 2 seconds, which is good for server lag. And if we put our chest right here and we put the item collector on the chest, let's put it right here. Now we can show the area that the item collector is going to pick things up from. So if we throw a baked potato down right there, it gets pulled up into the chest. Pretty cool, huh? And we can adjust the range. So if we increase the radius, now we can see our item collector is picking up from the whole garden here. Now imagine, turn off this now, the render area. Now imagine this was all blaze bloom soil and it was harvesting automatically. These are all getting sucked into the chest. These are outside the radius. These are inside the radius. Pretty cool, huh? Now, as we increase our power production using a gas burning generator, we're going to need organic material for biofuel. And I'm looking for ways to automatically harvest stuff at a rate that we can provide biofuel for our gas burning generator, which is what we're hoping for here. So there's just a taste of just some of the really cool tools and mechanics and blocks, automation we're going to be able to do with the Just Dire Things mod. And I think that's going to do it for now. I hope that gave you a good look at the Just Dire Things mod, gives you an idea of what it does. Hope you check it out. We'll be progressing more as we play through the mod pack and as soon as we kill a wither. All right, that'll do it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I appreciate you.